Podcast 945, Artificially Intelligent Viruses.
And welcome everyone to the MyMac.com podcast number 945. And it was not a great intro, but I'm going to stick with it anyway. The title of this episode is kind of clickbait, as there really isn't anything called artificial intelligence that's real. There are machine learning programs capable of writing malware based on the criteria given to it. And the past and current talking points when it comes to malware is that as the Mac, stop me if you've heard this before, as the Mac gets more popular, there will be more malware directed toward it. And I've been hearing this for years. And the M series Macs have grown the Mac market to the point where it certainly is a more attractive target, but has there been actual infections? One very telling point is that most articles saying that the Macs get viruses and malware seem to come from the companies selling us antiviral software. That is a mystery. How do you feel about that, Mr. Gaz?
Well, my one and only point that I'd like to make to you is that don't you say malware, and shouldn't it have two L's if you say malware, like your mall,
like a shopping mall?
Yeah, but it's only got one L, so it's malware. I don't care. It's like, I'm just pointing that out there because it's an important point to raise.
It is.
Even though your machine might be full of malware, you've got to say it right. Else the technician that's trying to rid you of your malware won't know what you're talking about. So I just thought...
If you say malware, would that be with two M's?
Malware, yeah. Malware, yeah.
Multiple M's. Because that makes all the difference.
On a serious point, yes, I tend to agree with you with whatever it was you said, because it is. Yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm just trying to work out. I use malware.
I use malware bytes. Yeah.
You use malware bytes. I use malware bytes.
Well, I got mine from JCPenney's, so it's malware.
I didn't get mine from JCPenney's. No,
you got yours from Selfridges.
Something possibly. I went down to Selfridges and got it. Yes,
here's the thing.
My shopping basket.
People in the U.S. probably have absolutely no idea what Selfridges is. But that's okay.
I bet they do, actually. I bet they do. And I think surprisingly a large amount of people will know what JCPenney's is in the UK as well. So, yeah.
It's like talking about Sears and Roebuck.
Are we here talking about malware, or Mac, or
no? We're here talking about department stores, apparently.
Oh, of course. I'd forgotten that's what we were doing this week.
What are you up to, guys?
Well, long bike rides this week, family visits, wolf wanderings, even a little bit of gardening. And I will say, apologies for my political rant last week. Actually, the rant still stands, but sorry you all had to hear it. I've done very little on MyMac this week. Very little on MyMac at all. I
did notice you had that one picture of Wilf where he was like almost completely taking up the picture. And I remember I sent you a message on Facebook saying, sorry, I can't see him.
Yes. That we'd gone for that. Ended up just being a short 3-mile walk. That was the halfway point, and we were looking back towards our village, and it's quite a nice view up there. So he got on the seat, and he was looking for Wilf, as somebody pointed out. They thought he was looking for Wilf, but
I have got in some of your previous Wilf Wanderings pics, I have listed like this incredibly long, complicated thing where Wilf actually is.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about.
I tend to ignore them, if I'm perfectly honest.
I would, even though it took me so long to write them.
Yes.
How dare you,
but
sir.
I did read it. I did download it and read it. So there, you're
Yeah,
lucky.
so you appreciated the effort. That's all I can ask.
Yeah. I do what our listeners do. They download, listen, but don't respond. That's good. No,
Yeah.
that's unfair. They do respond. That's me being unfair.
And there will be some discussion on that from somebody who called me out. And he was absolutely right to do so. And we will get to that later on in the show.
Okay. So what have you been doing this week?
That person knows who he is. I've been trying to stay focused on like just regular stuff, but my trip out west is coming up this Friday, and it's just the thought of it and getting away from this area for a while is really super distracting. Tracy's birthday, my wife's birthday, was yesterday, and Guy Jr.
Happy birthday to Tracy. Happy birthday to Tracy. Happy birthday to Tracy.
Yeah, she just turned 25.
That's incredible.
It is, especially weird because our oldest son is 29.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, very odd. Anyway, Guy Jr. and his girlfriend Ashley drove up for dinner. We went to a Mexican fusion restaurant, Gaz.
Oh, we were having a bit of a chat about this, wasn't it?
We
Trying to
were.
understand what fusion means exactly. I think
Well,
we
it's
defined
basically it's Mexican fused with
something.
Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed the fusion bit, didn't you, apparently?
Yeah, well, it was quite tasty. And then we went to the Kennedy Center, and people who live in the DC area know what that is, to see the play that goes wrong, which oddly enough went wrong. And we've seen that before. Then? This is the second time I've seen this live. And the same kind of things that went wrong the first time also went wrong this time.
Oh,
and
that's disappointing.
I'm thinking that somebody really needs to get their act together.
They do.
For the murder at Haversham Manor, because they just can't seem to get it right. But all kidding aside, if you've never seen any of the Goes Wrong plays, they did Christmas Carol Goes Wrong, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, which we saw in New York, and the play that goes wrong. They actually had a TV series called Goes Wrong or something like that in the UK. Very, very funny, a terrific group of actors that created all that. And the company that put the performance on last night was also very good. So a terrific time was had by all.
Excellent.
And
excellent.
I am still using my $37 Fifine dynamic microphone, Gaz.
I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
Does that mean we've hit nirvana with mics and you don't have to spend any more money because you've found it? You've found the one?
You know, if that was going to be the case, that would have happened in 2009. And I think history has shown that is not the case. I continue to buy microphones for no reason other than I want to buy microphones.
So this answer would have sufficed.
No.
Yes, correct.
Brilliant. Okay,
Thank
well,
you,
I think we ought to jump straight over into Gaz's snippets. Now, there was an awful lot of stuff in the middle of the week when I was going through all of my snippets on the earnings call, and we'll kind of touch on it, but we don't go into it that deep, but I will touch on it a little bit.
Well,
okay,
if you were looking at Apple's earning calls, what would be the one takeaway that you would grab from that?
They made money. iPhone clean energy charging. What is it and how does it work? Well, I don't know. And that was clickbait. And I clicked on it. You see, we're all susceptible to this sort of stuff. That could have been malware, folks. Okay, seriously now. Seriously. 68-year-old.
I saw something off to the side and I wasn't listening. What did you say?
A 68-year-old uses his AirTag and Twitter to find his bike that his airline lost. Now, I had a question against this. If he owns an airline, he'd just buy a new bike, surely. Just,
Yeah,
you know,
you'd think so.
Just, I mean, can afford a
Yeah,
bike
you'd
if he
think
owns
somebody
an
that
airline.
owns
If
like
it's his
multiple
airline,
planes can afford a
Yeah.
new bicycle.
Ridiculous. Screen time apparently is broken for many parents, and Apple admits previous fix didn't resolve it. I don't use it,
No.
so I don't know what the effect is on me. So I just to point any
Or
parents
maybe their
out there
kids
listening,
broke it.
Maybe. Another little issue though: Apple Pencil problem occurring with replacement iPad screens. Now, come on,
Really?
Apple. Come on. Yes, iPad owners who've had the current screen replaced by a third-party service center are reporting that Apple Pencil problem occurs afterwards, and it appears to be a deliberate move on Apple's part.
I don't know if it's deliberate, but it's certainly smells fishy.
Well, it should smell fishy because the issue isn't third-party aftermarket displays, Guy. It happens to be a genuine Apple screen.
Then there shouldn't be a problem.
But it's been pulled from an identical iPad and fitted to another model. Not another model, but, refitted, so it could be refurbished. So, Apple here could well be looking out for your back, folks. Just be careful. Now, this made me laugh. In fact, I howled when I saw this. Do you remember a few weeks ago, it might even have been last week, I can't remember, that the first check that was written went up for auction and went for some ridiculous amount of money?
First check for who?
For Apple, the first check that they wrote.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Well, apparently, Apple's second check ever written, and that's check spelt CHECK.
As compared to CZECH.
As opposed to the correct spelling, which is CHEQUE. Okay? Chuku. That's how it's pronounced.
Chuku. Yeah.
Chuku. Apple's
so
second
on board
check.
with that.
Apple's second check ever written, signed by Jobs, and is up for auction. We'll probably see how much that fetched next week. I then saw Apple shares hit a new all-time closing high. Dun, dun, dun. 198.23 that was.
I don't have
However,
it, or do I have it?
There is some news later. Don't play it. I'm moving on.
Okay.
There are 4 new games coming to Apple Arcade in August. Do you remember last week that I mentioned that I downloaded that kitty thing game? I think I sent you a note saying I played it for about 30 seconds and then deleted it.
Yes.
I've got a feeling I had a quick look at these 4 new games coming to Apple Arcade in August and thought I'm not even going to bother to download them. Anyway, Mozilla are shutting down the Pocket app for Mac and recommends installing the iOS app. That completely confounded me, that did. Mozilla has announced today that its Read It Later service, Pocket, will be retiring its Mac app this month. Users are encouraged to install the iOS app on their Mac to use the web going forward. What?
Why?
What? Well, because obviously that's the easiest option for them.
They could have avoided a lot of bad press if they had just made it like a combined app and just called it a combined app.
Who said they're getting bad press?
Well, we're talking bad about them because it was a really stupid thing to do.
I'm not talking bad about them. I am telling you. Apple unveils Pay the Apple Way campaign with TikTok creators, billboards, and much, much more. So basically, they've got a hashtag Pay the Apple Way, Guy. I can see you're so enthralled with that. It was a slow week. I've got to say, it was a slow week. Apple TV Plus partners with Air Canada to offer free in-flight entertainment content. Got to say, finished Hijack this week with Idris Elba on Apple TV.
How was it?
It was good. It's good. Enjoyed it. A lot of things that you go, yeah, that wouldn't happen. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. But you got to do that a lot with TV programs these days. But enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. It was quite.
It's like I can't remember the actor's name that was doing 24. Sutherland, Donald Sutherland's son, whatever. Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland.
And it was kind of the same. It's like, this is supposed to be the story of a guy who's up for 24 hours straight doing all of these things.
Yeah.
And so here's a guy on a long flight that's been hijacked and, doing all these. In the meantime, it's not even like he can go anywhere. He's on the plane. Where could you spend 8 hours on a plane and be able to get it? Well, I'll have to watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it is good. Yeah, and there's season 2 coming up. Even Planier, I think, is the working title.
You're not talking about Hijack now, are you?
Yes. Seriously, there's a season 2 in the works.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Cool. Well, the
season that wasn't a joke, even if it sounded like one.
It won't be a Hijack one because obviously it'll be a police related thing. So
yeah, it's going to be him trying to get his luggage after the first season.
Yeah, not much luck on that. If you saw the,
yeah,
I won't say how it ended. I best not.
Don't.
Just that Apple pulls dozens of generative AI apps from the App Store in China ahead of the CCP speech crackdown. Apple has reportedly removed over 100 AI apps from its Chinese App Store that are believed to violate the country's new regulations on generative AI.
No, they're just afraid that somebody's going to talk smack about Winnie the Pooh.
More than 10 billion deposited in Apple Card savings accounts, Guy. 10 billion. Yep.
Nice.
Elon Musk says he will speak with Tim Cook about changing App Store commission rules, Guy. He's going to have a little chat with Tim and say, Tim, you got to change it because I'm not making enough money on Twitter and I need you to help me out. Because I'm not really a very good businessman. I'm just a fraud.
He's not even paying the bills, like on the rent on some of the properties that he's in. So
we'll let Elon Musk just do his
thing. Yeah. You work on that. He loves SpaceX. Not a big fan of what you're doing with Twitter.
I downgraded to an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and there's not much I'm missing. Was the headline of this particular 9 to 5.
Really.
Yeah. He said, I mentioned that upgrading to an wasn't exactly exciting since I get a new phone every year, but I never imagined I'd have to downgrade to an iPhone 11 Pro Max after all these years. He did that, and honestly, there's not much he's missing. So there you go, folks. The only problem is you'll probably get to end of life a little bit sooner than you would have done.
Maybe.
Like
by 3 years. 4 years.
Younger people are switching from Android to iPhone on Samsung's home turf. South Koreans under 30 years of age are switching from Android to iPhone in substantial numbers, according to a new report.
Well, I mean,
Russia.
What is it? iOS now has like almost 50% of the market. And that's incredible for a single manufacturer.
Almost monopolistic, Guy. Careful. Russia finds.
I know.
Russia finds Apple for failure to censor inaccurate content on the Ukrainian invasion. A Moscow court fined Apple 400,000 rubles, Guy, right, on Thursday for not deleting inaccurate content about Russia's invasion of Ukraine, or what Russia terms a special military operation in Ukraine. Do you want to know how much 400,000 rubles is?
I'm going to guess about $29.95.
Pretty much $4,274.
Yeah.
Apple has.
Were they supposed to do that? Then call it what it is, censorship. Were they supposed to do that across the entire world or just in the Russian market?
Probably. They've only got jurisdiction over the Russian market, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, people in France or the courts in France could fine Apple for doing stuff elsewhere that they didn't like. They just might have a hard time actually collecting on it. But frankly, if it's a $4,000 fine, Apple is like, let me look in my change purse. 25, 50, 75, £1.
Interesting counting. Apple
Yeah.
surpasses 1 billion paid subscriptions as active devices are double that. Incredible. Apple's third quarter earnings call, takeaways on AI, Vision Pro, demo success, iPad, Mac, all sorts of stuff. I started reading through it and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back to that later. Because I then opened the Apple Reports actual own page. Now, I opened it earlier and I've now been and lost it. Here we go. So I'm just going to give you some headline numbers. Because these are, I've got to keep flipping this chart up and down because it's a PDF, so it doesn't store the top column, which kind of throws me. But anyway, they are down in sales the last 3 months compared to the previous year's 3 months. Let me get that right. Yeah, so July 1st, 2023, as opposed to the 3 months ended June 25th, 2022. Obviously, slightly different dates because of timing on reporting. But the iPhone was down by around, let me get this right, 1,000 million. Yeah, these numbers are in millions. So it's 39,669 as opposed to last year, 40,665 million. So slightly down. Mac slightly down. Well, yeah, by 500 million.
So $500 million.
Yeah. So yes. iPad, well, quite a bit more actually. They were down, and these are the 3 months compared to the 3 months prior. This isn't year on year, but even the year on years was slight. But even the year on year was slightly down as well. So, the iPad was down by. Oh, I've got to work this out because I haven't got the difference here. But that is that's 1,500, 1.5 billion down. Wearables were up 284 million. Services were up
as it has been
by about 1.6 billion. Yeah. So products and services were all down. So mostly they were down. Interestingly, though, I then looked at the sales by segment. So on the 3 months, the US or Americas, says Americas, which is a whole of obviously North and South America, including Canada probably, was down. Europe was slightly up. Greater China was slightly up. Japan and the rest of Asia Pacific was down. So, these are, we're talking big spandoolies here. I think a lot of analysts are also looking for the outlook. Now, having said all of that and I said earlier that their shares were up. If I go back to my announcements, let me jump ahead slightly. Apple slumps below the 3 trillion market value as stock slides, Guy. It's just incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. Now, during the call, Tim Cook again has talked up AI as critical to Apple's products, but didn't say anything new. That probably didn't help. Apple iPhone dominates with 85% smartphone profit share. So although they might only be, let's say for argument's sake, these aren't anything specific. This is numbers made out of my head. But let's say they had 50% of the market share and Samsung and the rest had the other 50% of the market share. 85% of the profits that are made over that 100% are all going to Apple.
Huh.
That's incredible.
I'm trying to decide which one I'd want to be in. Huh.
Yeah, I know which one I'd want to be in.
Yeah.
So, Apple execs tout Mac successes following the Intel transition, but warn of Q4 double-digit drop in revenue. So I think the forward-looking state from Apple is not quite as good, but I think that could be a bit of a bounce back from the fact that they've done so well after they've moved from Intel, which is kind of natural.
Yeah, you're not going to have, once everybody swaps their machines when they go to a new platform, they're not going to swap it out every year. That's not the way the market works for computers. Well,
it's funny. It's funny you say that, because I was having a discussion with my daughter today, and she said,
"Yeah,
Dad, I think the Union Jack is basically dead." Now, we call my iMac, the MacBook Air that we got, the little 11-inch MacBook Air that I bought back in 2011. She said, it's finally on its last legs. So that goes to say to you,
12 years old.
It's 12 years old, yeah. No, absolutely. But, that's why people aren't going to buy new ones each year, are they? Certainly of the Macs, if they last that long. Microsoft guy is shutting down Cortana. Question: should Apple do the same with Siri?
No.
What? That was a Steve Jobs.
No.
Exactly. A firm, without a hesitation.
There was no hesitation there.
Do I think that Siri is wonderful and better than the rest of the things like Siri? No. I also don't think that. But Apple has kind of ingrained Siri, especially in iOS land, and that's where she makes her most significant contribution, and it should just continue if for that reason alone.
Thank you very much. Well, apparently Google wants iPhone switchers to know it's all good on Android. It's all good. That's the tagline. It's all good. That's right then. We'll switch.
Yeah.
Apple Pay are reportedly Apple Pay is reportedly coming to Chile this month after a long delay. I thought you'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Apparently, Guy, and I'm quite interested in this because I may upgrade this year. It's been 2 years since I've upgraded my iPhone, and if it's good enough, I may well upgrade this year. But there could well be an iPhone event sometime the 12th or 13th of September. What do you think? Have we got one coming in September?
Apple having an iPhone event sometime in September or October?
I just incredible, isn't it? I'm not sure that
those analysts, boy, they just know everything.
They know absolutely everything, and that, Guy, is the end of Gazzy's snippets. However, I might have a Gazzy's link, and I've got to say thank you. Thank you to everybody in the United States of America. And my link takes you to a report that says...
I'm virtually waving a flag.
Thank you. The US is number one for ransomware attacks, 7 times more than any other to the next country, or any other country. Not any other country, but 7 times more than to the next country. So thank you very much. However, we're second on that.
We're number one. We're number one.
But I've got to say, that means you're taking all of the pain. So thanks. I just wanted to thank you. So I've put that into Gazzy's link. And I'm not sure whether you'd like me putting that in or not, really.
No, that's fine. Because honestly, most of 99.9% of the ransomware out there on Windows. So, and that sucks. People, and this isn't like going, a na moment where it's like, okay, Macs are great and Windows sucks. Because at the end of the day, the people responsible for that ransomware are the idiots and jerk-offs that deserve our scorn. But speaking of all that, is Gaz's link over?
So Gazzy's link is over. Funny enough, that link ties into the next section somehow. This is so. It's like a well-oiled machine. This is.
We certainly like our well-oiled. How often do wells need to be oiled?
Oh, very regularly, else the chain breaks.
Okay, I don't even know where to go with that. Let's talk about Macs getting infected facts. So what kind of threats are we talking about, Gaz? Let's kind of go over some of the threats that are out there, not so much by name, but by type. Adware, for example, can be a nuisance as they typically try to get you to download other programs that can be far more dangerous. And like you were just saying, ransomware has existed, but there's no recent examples of anything that's particularly successful. Crypto miners is another variant that we haven't seen much of on the Mac side. Spyware lurks in the background to try to obtain passwords and other valuable data. If a hacker can figure out your account's password, then nearly your entire system is open for them. And if you aren't using a restricted account, this is something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Gaz, then there's a very good possibility that if they get your password, they've got an in to all of your other passwords that are saved in the password app in what is that? Keychain that you have in Keychain. Phishing is usually in there for links in emails and links online that may try to get you to enter an account password. And in that particular case, it could be the password for your Mac. It may pop up and say, if you wish to continue, enter your Mac's password, even though it's an online form that wouldn't require your Mac's password for anything, or for accounts that can generate a lot of money for them, like an Amazon account, Adobe, or Microsoft. There's also Trojan horses, Gaz, that lay in wait and can be remotely triggered. Anyway, yeah, I don't even know why we went there. They can lay in wait and be remotely triggered by some activity or even a time and a date. There's also potential hacks via hardware, like through USB or Thunderbolt. So give some thought before just connecting one of your devices to that ever so convenient USB slot in a hotel or airport. Always use your own charging bricks and your own trusted cables. Now, Mac users can take several steps to mitigate the impact of malware. For example, installing security updates for the Mac OS as soon as they are available is important, as Apple addresses vulnerabilities through those software updates. Users should also refrain from clicking on suspicious links or installing, let's be kind and call it unauthorized software. When it comes to links in email, before you just blindly click that link that says it's going to Microsoft or Adobe or whatever, just let your mouse kind of hover over that link and you'll see the entire link that pops up from that. And if it doesn't say anything about Microsoft or Adobe or whatever the software is that it says it's going to, don't click it. It's not going to end well for you. What else? Using antivirus software from a reputable company can help detect malware. But beware of fake antivirus scams. Remember that some of these can also slow down performance, and many have them engaged by default to be on all the time. Chances are doing a once-a-week check on updating the antivirus software and then doing a check right after that update, if there is one, should be all you need to do, but that's really a decision that you yourself have to make. Now, having said all that, Apple has its own anti-malware built into OS X as well, as long as you keep it on. And we're talking about the Gatekeeper program. A lot of times, if you download some application and that application says, you know what, Gateway isn't letting me install, consider very, very carefully before you go into your security settings and make a change to allow you to download and install that program. So if you've turned Gatekeeper off in privacy and security settings and system preferences, anything that happens because of that decision is on you. It's not on Apple. Now, Apple's notarization process checks software for malicious components. overall remaining vigilant about security practices is probably the best defense for Mac users to protect their systems against threats like malware and viruses. And probably the easiest way to avoid nearly all of this is to just, and I don't want to be a cheerleader here, but if you just use applications from the Apple's Mac App Store, it's a nearly flawless way, because there has been a couple of uh-ohs in the past to prevent getting infected. If applications you need aren't in the Mac App Store, only download them directly from the developer's site and source. Don't be tempted by free versions of expensive software, as you may get a little more than you bargained for. Adobe and Microsoft applications are a frequent lure. They don't give them away for free, folks, so don't fall for it. What do you think, Gaz?
Yeah, I think you've pretty much nailed it.
Oh, head nodding.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Now, Guy,
yes.
on your phone, have you ever got a load of messages that you wanted to delete? Now, I know I've gone sort of through this before, but there's a slight difference to this one. So I'm pretty sure that I haven't mentioned this. So if I have, I apologise. But if I haven't, then I think this is important. So you've got a load of messages you receive and you think, I don't need any of those. Okay. You know, when you click on the edit and it comes up with the little circle, and you can, if you've got one finger on your phone, you can scroll up and down through all of those messages. Well, if you've got a whole bunch, if you put two fingers on the phone and scroll with those two fingers up and down your phone screen, it actually highlights all of those messages rather than you having to click in that little box on the left hand side. So as soon as you go one finger, you can then scroll through, put two fingers on, and as you scroll down, it actually highlights and marks all of those messages. Be careful how you use this in case you go and delete messages that you didn't want, but you can just press on the message with one finger then and it'll unselect it. Who knew?
Well, now we do know. Nodding heads.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Okay, is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Did that cut out for you for a second?
No.
Okay, well then maybe it was just me. Could be. Maybe I nodded out for just a second.
Could be.
It's like, okay, I'm here and I'm cognizant. Or maybe I'm not. If you can, please donate to the Ukrainian Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders, two excellent organizations that could use your help at this time. Gaz, I see that you have a For Pick's Sake.
I do. Now, we briefly mentioned the Apple's earning call earlier. Well, Jason Snell and Dan Moran actually have a website called Six Colors. And if you go over there, it's got some very nice charts which basically break down those numbers in very easy, digestible visual content. And a lot better than just hearing me spurt out a load of numbers. And I'm going to use specifically, previously, I didn't mention this because one of the first charts on there is the Apple quarterly revenue by category. And this is nice and easy. It's a pie chart and it says iPhone 48%, services 26%, wearables 10%, Mac 8%, and iPad 7%. Easy. And if you scroll down, it's got all sorts of other charts which are really great to look at if you do want to go and actually digest Apple's earnings and understand a little bit easily with visuals just exactly what they've been saying. So that is my For Pick's Sake this week.
Yeah, that's actually a lot better than trying to digest Apple's PDF press release, because if you need something to help you sleep at night, download Apple's press release for their
Yeah.
quarterly earnings.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you don't need to count sheep. No, just count the
actually-
dollars
actually
as
on
they
the-
go
this-
over into Apple's
Actually, on
coffers.
6 Colors, they've got the quarter 3 analyst called transcribed. So what you need to do is you get that transcribed, get it down onto your phone or something, and then ask the phone to read it to you. Send you to sleep like that.
Like that. And you misspelled colors.
Sorry?
You misspelled colors in your for pick's sake there.
Well, I've now corrected it.
Ah, very good. Okay. I actually have a for pick's sake this week as well.
Oh, we want to be careful.
Yeah, there's a website, growlybird.com.
Doesn't
That
sound
has-
dodgy at all.
Not at all. It's got a bunch of apps and a couple of games.
Can I just say, I've just gone
Yeah.
onto the website and I'm just going to do one thing, Guy.
What's that? Yeah, pretty much. Maybe that's how I actually even found them, because it was parrot related. Because there is a parrot in their literature. But I use on a regular basis a couple of the games, and they have some other apps on there as well. So, and they're all, for the most part, they're free. So go check that out, growlybird.com. Now, let's talk about feedback. And what happens when you say things on a podcast that aren't true?
Oh,
So last week,
what did I say last week?
no, it wasn't you, Gaz. It wasn't you.
No, it must have been.
No. Last week, I berated NC Greg for not sending us some feedback.
Oh, why did you do that?
I have no idea, because he is like our number one guy when it comes to feedback. And Greg, all joking aside, the fact that you contact us so frequently is delightful. We love your feedback, and whether it's written or whether it's audio, we really do like it, and we deeply appreciate not only your feedback but the feedback that we get from anybody.
Can I
who
jump in there?
contacts the
Can I
site. Sure.
jump in there, Greg? We even like, and remember who you live closer to, custard pies in the face feedback.
Huh. Custard pies in the face. I am a fan of custard pies. Just let me put on my safety glasses first. All right. So, in response to what I said last week, this is what he sent to me.
Hey guys, it's Greg from North Carolina.
Hi, Greg.
You complained about not having any feedback on the most recent MyMac podcast.
Yes, I did.
On the 16th, I called the Google Voice number twice. Did they get lost?
No. They did not get
hang
lost.
on a minute. So hang on a minute. I'm just going to play something then, Guy. No, Greg, they didn't get lost.
I screwed up.
They were there.
I
See,
screwed
not entirely, because Google Voice's website is not super clear when it comes to letting you know that you have voicemail. However, that's not really a very good excuse, because when I go through it, I should be looking for those things anyway. So we got 2 emails from Greg on the 16th of July, more than 2 weeks ago, that I didn't see. So we're gonna do those right now. So you ready, Gaz?
I'm ready.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Oh, you want me to say it now?
Frankfurter.
Yeah, of course you have to
Start
say
it again. Stop it. Stop it.
Frankfurter.
Okay. Starting again.
Right.
Let's pretend like the last 30 seconds didn't actually happen. The Wayback Machine.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Frankfurter.
Frankfurter who?
Frankfurter, lovely podcast. I look forward to hearing it again next week.
Ah, great. I
Thank
like
you,
it.
Greg. That
I
was
like
very
it.
nice.
I liked
And
it
then-
when I first heard it and responded accordingly. I liked it the second time when I responded inappropriately. I liked it the third time when I then again responded appropriately.
Okay, here's the second one that he left on the 16th.
Hey guys, it's Greg from North Carolina.
Hi, Greg.
I had a question about the virtual MacStock ticket that you were referring to on the most recent MyMac podcast. You said that the virtual ticket would allow us to see all of the fun and shenanigans that goes on there. I just wanted to make sure, will we also, with the virtual pass, be able to see the tomfoolery, or will we be restricted to specifically the fun and the shenanigans? Because inquiring minds want to know.
Well, having asked, unfortunately, MacStock is now over, and if you have the virtual pass, you can go back and watch it. Tomfoolery, hijinks, and shenanigans were part of it. Was there specific sections laid out for hijinks versus shenanigans? I don't know if Mike edited down to that level. However, MacStock 8 will be coming up probably in July of 2024. And if you would like to go to MacStockConferenceandExpo.com and leave a suggestion for Mike Potter, and make sure you tell him that Guy Searle asked you to send this email, that you want not just hijinks and shenanigans, but also tomfoolery edited down in a nice, easy, and neat package. And I'm sure I will hear from Mike Potter right after that to let me know how much he enjoys our suggestions. Sorry, my suggestions, because I'm sure Gaz wants nothing to do with this whatsoever, to his next MacStock Conference and Expo, which was excellent, and I wish I had been there.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. And I am really, really sorry that I did not see the July 16th voicemails until you contacted me on a completely different platform to say you had done it, and I didn't see it. Okay. Now, with all of that, if you would like to contribute to the show and help pay for all of the wonderful things that I do on a regular basis, you can do so by going to patreon.com/MacParrot. You can go to coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot. Buy me a coffee over there. And you can also pay a pal, Gaz, at paypal.me/MacParrot. Now, if they wanted to get a hold of you, Gaz, and say, if Guy can't be bothered to properly check Google Voice each and every week, why should we give him a single shekel? How would they do so?
Ever so easy. Just send an email to gaz@mymac.com. That's JZ@mymac.com. You can also contact me on the Twitters, which is twitter.com or x.com. I don't know what it's called anymore, but it's /Gazmaz. GAZMAZ. You can also get me on Counter Social and Mastodon. Mastodon is Gazmaz, GAZMAZ. @c.im. You can also contact both Guy and Gaz on the Twitters. Twitter or x.com, the usual /Guy and Gaz, GUYANDGAZ. Very good. You can also send an email to feedback, FWEDBACK, at mymac.com.
Guy?
Guy.
Guy.
Yeah! Guy.
My guy?
So Guy.
You're Guy. You're Guy. It's you. Yeah. I love you.
It's such a classic Guy line.
Guy, we need to talk. Guy, we need to talk. Guy, we need to talk.
That's Greg right
Guy,
there.
we need to talk.
Guy, we need to talk.
Yeah.
His name was Guy.
Oh.
Guy.
Guy?
Guy's the one.
He's the guy.
Do we know it was a guy?
Guy says, no foolin'.
No.
If you want
An email. from Guy.
How would they do it?
Oh, it is so easy. All you have to do is go to the email client of your choice and type in Guy at MyMac.com.
I'm not going to play a Guy just for you, Guy.
Yeah, I know. You can also go on over and also use the email address of podcast@vertshark.com. You can go on over to the vertshark.com website and get all of the latest video content that I put over there in VertShark. I am on Twitter. I am either MacPettit and or VertShark over there on the Twitters. I am also on Counter Social and Mastodon.social as MacPettit. And what else is there? There's the YouTube channel. It's Guy's Daily Drive. No, it's VertShark. Yeah, over there on YouTube. You can see all the videos over there too. As well as when I get around and doing them again, Guy's Daily Drive, where I sit in my car on my way to work and just talk about whatever comes into my head. It's really super scary and super sketch, but there it is. We also have, as Greg from North Carolina knows, a Skype voice number and a Google Voice number, but the Skype voicemail number is 1 or +1 outside the United States. 703-436-9501. That number again is 703-436-9501. And Greg contacted me on the Google Voice number, Gaz, which is
703-828-4677. That's 703-828-4677.
Yeah, that's real homeless by the river in the van kind of voice there. Oh, having said
call
all
it if
of
you
that,
dare. Call it if you dare.
Yeah, we dare you to call that number. We dare you, and you can say anything you want about us. We're good with it. I would like to say thank you to all and each and every one of you, which makes absolutely no phonetic sense at all. But I said it that way anyway, because we really, really do appreciate the fact that you download and listen to the MyMac, MyMac.com podcast. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And Gaz, at the end of the day, I think we're good enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think we're smart enough.
It's sometimes.
It's questionable sometimes. And that doggone it, Woof, that amazing dog Wilf, people like us.
Guy, why did the Scarecrow win an award?
I don't know.
Because he was outstanding in his field.
I should have known that.
End.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.